Hello, hello, dear book dragons. I'm just showing you off my new beautiful dress from On the Floor that I bought. I love this brownish, brown dress. It was the first time I bought a dress from them that's not, what's it called? It's not a wrap dress. I'm a little bit nervous to just order a dress to know if it could be too big or too small, but it's just perfect. And I'm so happy about it. Anyway, I'm going to talk about the books that I read in August. And actually, I read 14 books. So that's much more than I usually do, but also quite a lot of short books and several ebooks. And I don't actually have many books to show you because some of them are library books and some of them I've actually already given away or lent out to my sister. So this is the only ones I have to show. And here's the book that I haven't actually finished. Dangerous Liaisons by Pierre Chotelot de la Clos. I don't know how to I don't speak French. But yeah, I read this for a book club. I started reading it. I thought the introduction was really funny because it's like the editors of the book says, "Oh, this is letters that are made up, just so you know." And then there's an introduction by the author saying, "This is not made up. This is letters that I found. Some of the letters I didn't fit in the book. It would be too thick." So that's what I found really funny. And then I started reading these letters, which is between, I think, around 4 or 5 different people. It was interesting to read the old kind of language, but I just didn't find the people very interesting to read about, and I didn't get very far. I assume there will be more spicy things going on further on in the story, but I just didn't felt drawn to it. There were so many other books I want to read, so I gave up. I kind of maybe read this so much, I don't know. It's okay to give up on books, but I'm really looking forward to read another classic with that book club in September by Alexander Dumas. So I hope I will find that more interesting. Anyway, so that was a book I gave up on. But the first book that I read and finished in August was A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping by Sangu Mandana. And I loved it so much. I was so looking forward to this book. And sometimes if you look forward to something too much, it doesn't really live up to your expectations. But I think this did. I don't think some people seem to get what's it called? I just said the word. Some people seem to be let down when they have too high expectations, but when it comes to books, I don't think I usually am. So, but I give this 5 stars. I think this was my favorite book of the month, actually. And it's just so cute. It's about this woman called Sera who lives in a magic inn. She has magic, obviously. She's a witch, and in the beginning of the book, her old aunt has died, and she tries to resurrect her. Well, she does resurrect her, but that she managed to lose most of her magic doing that. So quite a lot of this book is about how she has actually tried to accept that, but of course she longs for her magic. And there are other people in this book who wants her help. This is Fox, a woman who was turned into a fox when she... Well, I won't explain why, because that would be too much much telling, but she wants Sarah to get her magic back so she can help her get her human body back. But mostly it's just a very cute, sweet, and romantic book about this inn who's a safe place for Sarah and her friends who live there. There's a man who always walks around in a medieval, or actually it's not medieval, but walks around in a tour, like, oh, what's it called? Me and my words. Well, it doesn't matter, but there's a lot of funny, different kind of people, and yeah, it's just really cozy, and yeah, I won't say anymore. It's a delight, and yeah, if you like cozy magical books, and if you really liked her earlier book, I would say even maybe this is thinner, maybe this is even better. I'm not sure. It's really good. Read it. And then I read 2 books that I don't have here because I lent them out to my sister. And yeah, it was actually 4 books because I read this 2 and then 2 more from this series. This is T is for Traitor series that I've talked about before. T is for Traitor is the 5th and 6th book in the series, and later I read the 7th and 8th. So 4 books I read, and they are really quick, fun reads. It's perfect when you're too tired to get in anything more. And I've been quite tired in August actually, so they were perfect. They're entertaining, they're sweet, they're funny, and I usually don't know who the murderer is. I think maybe in the 7th or 8th book I saw it coming, but not in the rest. And the 8th I really, really enjoyed. It was so cute. Yeah, and after that I read The Enchanted Greenhouse by Sarah Beth Durst. So this was another cozy fantasy, a little bit thicker. And oh, I put some stickers in here. Let's see. Oh, I think I just put it here because I wanted to check out what kind of flower this was. And maybe, let's see. Oh, yeah, I'll read this line. This is nice. She didn't know that stone could form like this. It looked as if it was made by magic, not by water and time. Or maybe water and time was its own kind of magic. I really like that because for me that's true. Anyway, this book is about a woman called Terlu. She's a lovely, lonely librarian, and in the beginning of the book, if you read her first book, you'll recognize some things. This is things that happened before that first book. What is the name of the first book? Yeah, that's Belsham. So she, Turlu Perna, she broke the law because she was lonely. She cast a spell and created a sentient plant. And we hear about this plant, we meet this plant in the second book. And well, some years later, she, as a punishment, she's turned into a wooden statue. Really weird. And wakes up some years later, some totally different place next to out in the forest in the snow, and she's like totally alone, nobody there. She's kind of in a shock, of course, but she walks and she finds this enormous greenhouse, and she has to look for quite a long time before she finds the only person living on this island working in this greenhouse. And that's a very, very sweet man, Yarrow, And this is a lot about living plants. It is a love story, but is very slow. It's very cute. You don't really see anything happen. That's not very much does happen. So if you want that, that's perfect. I give it 4.8 stars. So I didn't enjoy this as much as the Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping, but I still thought it was really lovely. And it's full of singing flowers, honey cakes, and honeyed love, and a very cute kind of flying cat and tiny dragons. I actually made the little cat. His name is Emerald. I don't know if you can see it, but that's the cat. And I also drew a little house up here for the book. After that I haven't done any drawings. But yeah, this was really lovely. It was. And so, well, yes, I definitely recommend it. Not very much happening though, but it's lovely. And after that, I read an ebook which was Intrigues in Amalfi by a Swedish book, which was a continuation of this Capri book about Capri that I read in July. And so this was kind of same setup with Hugo, who goes. He's still in Italy, and Lara, who works on all the tourists, ask him for help to go with Amalfi. And so yeah, you get to know the city, get to know some history, and there's this group of people working together who's traveling together, and one of them dies. So it's a detective story, but it's not the police who's fixing it. It's Hugo and Lara. I give it 4 stars. I enjoyed it. And then I read a classic, Persuasion by Jane Austen, with a friend of mine who we've been talking about reading this book for several months. As it is Jane Austen's 205th birthday, yes, this year, it felt extra good to read some Jane Austen. I think I'll read some more in the autumn. And I bought this edition. I really, really like the Penguin Library books. They're so soft. Paper is so lovely. And I thought, because I have this, and I have a huge book with all the Jane Austen books in one, and I thought maybe I wanted to tab something or underline anything, but I didn't. Doesn't matter. It was really nice to have this not light book to read in. And it's interesting because I've seen the film, I think it's from 2007, several times. So I know the story really well. But it was the first time I read this. I read the book from Captain Wentworth's point of view several years ago. And I think that I thought that I read this too, but I'm quite sure I haven't read it before until now. And it was very interesting to see the difference between the film and the book. I found that Anne is much more kind of critical in the book than she is in the film. I found her more a little bit condescending, but she doesn't, I mean, she never shows it openly. She's not a snob like her sister and her father, but still a bit like, a little bit more snob than I thought her to be. And the film is, of course, more dramatic. Some things that happens in the film doesn't happen in the book at all. Things are more explained in the book, obviously, which makes it less dramatic. Like in the film, Anne is confused and towards the end, and thinks that Captain Wentworth is marrying, what's her name? Oh, the girl who fell. But in the book, she gets to know very, well, it's not quickly, she knows it. It's still towards the end of the book, but she's told that, yeah, that's not what's happening. So there are quite big differences, I would say. Both are really, really good. I gave it 4.8 stars. I think it could have been a bit bigger. And it is more subtle than her other books. It's a bit more serious, I would say. What I said more. Yeah, I think I said the things I was thinking about, and of course, Captain Frederick Wentworth is just lovely. So yeah, and this is thin. This is an easy read, and yeah, if you want to read a classic that is really interesting and not as light as other books, but it's not heavy either, I would say read Persuasion. It is very interesting. And then there is another ebook by a Swedish author that I've read her other books and I really enjoyed, and it was quite a lot about going to Prague and learning about a lot of stuff there. Well, it was a romantic romance, but also quite dark about relationship to a mother is quite strange. And then I read the third of this tea murder stories, and then I read another ebook, two more ebooks by Frida Gråsjö. It's also like easy romance, feel good books. And what I really enjoyed about at least the first one is that she really explains the beautiful countryside where she, Dalsland, I've never been there, which, yeah, she really explained the beauty of the countryside so well, and yeah, that was really lovely. And yeah, love stories. And then I've been reading for several months, the whole summer, a library book that I've now given back. A book about Elsa Beskow, and she is the artist of this beautiful a lot of children's stories. She's a very beloved artist and author in Sweden. She lived I don't remember when she died. She lived in the early 1900s, 20, yeah. I borrowed this book. It's interesting how I borrowed this book, because I was in the library, the nearest library where I live here, and was looking around and saw the book about Elsa, and I started just looking in the beginning of the book, and saw that she, as a child, used to have her summers at a country place very near where I have been since I was 15. So that was like, oh, how interesting, I want to know more. So that's why I actually borrowed the book. So it's funny, and it is a biography. I haven't read it like from beginning to the end. I've been reading it little now and then, and it's like essays, you could say, by different people. So it's just sometimes some bits are a little bit repetitive. And there is another book about Elsa Beskow and her husband that I would really like to read, which is more like focused on their romance, but I guess on their art as well, because he was an artist as well. Yeah, and like, I think the day after I finished the book, I found this notebook in the bookshop. So that was kind of funny. So I think I'll keep this as a notebook, writing down when I want to write more about books I'm reading, not just some short notes in my book diary. And and then I read two more Swedish romance books. Well, the feel-good books, I mean. Also a series that I read last summer, and now she's written some more. Because I've been having Storytel for like 45 days, so and I will give it up soon. I really feel that my is not so good for my eyes to read on my phone, but it's been a very cheap way to read several of these feel-good books that maybe I don't really want to buy, but I still want to read them. So yeah, that was the books I read in August, and I've been reading another book that I thought I could have finished today, but I haven't. So maybe I'll do just one video about that book when I am finished, because it's a really, really good, interesting book. So I'll see you soon. Bye.